I could also guess that the people upset about this have never touched Blender in their life, and
110%. Do you know how hard it is to do anything in Blender?
I just hear AI and they're like, and it's like, okay, please go use Blender. All right, welcome back to Denoised, Addy. It's been way too long. This is all my fault.
Hello, stranger.
I know.
Where you been?
I have been stuck in Vegas Groundhog Day. Yeah, NAB, and then a completely separate project, but I was still in Vegas for a whole other week, which was way too much Vegas.
Yeah, that's too much. I'm glad you're back. You need some detox with Santa Monica juice press places.
Yeah, I need some West Side fresh air. Then after Vegas, and then it was we just filmed the Cinema Synthetica competition this weekend, which is playing at AI on the Lot. This is definitely the biggest year. It's like the 48-hour AI film competition. Definitely biggest leap in quality, which I expected because the models are just so good between Kling and C-Dance. So
you've been covering that conference for a while now. So
you started, the first competition they did, which also was sort of how I also got into AI in the first place, because I was filming them doing stuff, and then I was like, all right, well, I'll give it a try, and then fell down the rabbit hole.
That's it. Yeah. So glad you're here on this side.
So I mean, NAB, we'll kind of do a little recap of some cool things I saw, but definitely saw a bunch of fans of the podcast, so it was great seeing everyone. There was one guy who stopped me, Jacob, is building he built a virtual production stage in a shipping container in his backyard.
Wow.
And he's like, okay. And it was really awesome and really impressive. He showed me some photos. And then he also he's deep into comfy and built this crazy Gaussian splat comfy workflow that kind of does World Labs, but he's like, it's better quality than World Labs. So really cool for showing that. I'm curious to learn more about that workflow. If Jacob, you're listening, you got a link, send it over.
Yeah.
You want to share
Jacob,
that?
You're a mad scientist. Yeah. Shout out to you, man.
Also, there were a lot of people also saying they don't listen to podcasts, but they listen to our podcast, which is super nice. And
is that good or bad?
I think it's good, but now I feel a little bit more pressure because, it's one thing when you're just talking to the void into this camera to you, but now it's putting faces to people listening. So, I mean, the other nice compliment was that someone said they listen to 3 podcasts, all in A16Z and ours. And I'm like, what?
It's like multi-million-dollar podcast and then us. That's awesome. Okay.
So thank you. Thank you, everyone. We will try to keep it entertaining, and we are rambling right now, but we'll keep it on point to keep it insightful. So a couple things I wanted to cover of cool things that came up at NAB that we didn't talk about before, because someone else did say, I don't even know why I'm at NAB because I listened to your podcast, and you kind of already gave everything away. So I already know what's happening here.
Those are all compliments, Joey. Your hard work is paying off.
Yes, we're doing the deep research here. Okay, so a few things that were cool. The one that was, I think, the most standout was from Lightcraft, which Lightcraft, we talked about before. They have the iPhone app that you can kind of use as a inexpensive camera tracker. They've been developing this new platform called Spark, which they sort of teased a bit last year, but now they have a prototype, and it solves a lot of the previs and visualization things that I've wanted to see a solution for. So the idea is it's a web platform. You can Gaussian splat scan a location, bring in that splat into the platform, and then you can connect your iPhone or virtual camera and basically have an Unreal Engine VCam, but all browser-based, super easy to use, and either virtually scout or move your camera around in your browser. It has a take recorder, so you can record camera movements. You can bring in 3D objects with motion, so that demo of a dragon that had an animation built in, and then trigger that and have your camera move and record, do blocking, storyboarding. So you could either use it for previs, or you could use it for a base level gray boxing animation that you would feed to an AI pipeline later on.
Okay, I have some questions.
Yeah.
One, how responsive is it?
In the demo there, and this is also NAB crappy Wi-Fi, it was responsive. It was I had the camera moving it it felt real time.
So the view of the real-time renderer, the virtual world, do you just slap that iPad onto your physical camera, onto your principal camera, or do you just use the iPad camera?
This is all like a previs 3D environment, so it's much more like the VCam in Unreal Engine. Okay, so you're using the iPad or your phone through the Lightcraft app as your camera device. You also don't need to do this. You could just, use the camera in the web browser and do all this in the web browser. But it's like a very much easier to use Unreal Engine system.
Yeah. I mean, I've set up VCams with Unreal before. It's gotten easier and easier as, Epic has an app and everything, but then a lot of the take setup and, file naming convention and like all the professional stuff around it, I think this offers as a add-on on top of that platform.
Yeah, I mean, with that, you still have to set up Unreal. You need to be the computer. You need like all that stuff.
Yeah,
it's like all browser-based. That's all. There's nothing to install or set up. It just syncs. And yeah, you can see in this demo, this is the VCam. It has a take recorder. I can record the camera movement. I can trigger animated elements in the scene. I could bring in Gaussian splat scans. So it was a really cool system.
Nice.
They said they're supposed to launch it later this summer. Yeah, the virtual camera thing is something I've really wanted, of just being able to use a phone or some physical device as a virtual camera in a space, previs, or as a, just base layer pipeline to feed into Kling or Dance to style transfer, to have like AI videos, but with camera control.
Yes, exactly. So you're thinking previs with Lightcraft Spark, and then take that reference video and then quote unquote neural render it with AI.
Yeah, exactly. Either that or, I mean, even for shoots and stuff, I could see there was definitely a bucket of new apps that were web-based Gaussian splat viewers. Like District Cinema had their own platform too, that was like a Frame.io for Gaussian splats. That most of them were kind of designed to work with the XGrid's portal cam, where you can scan it. It's very good. It's accurate. And you're getting the LiDAR data, so all your measurements are accurate. And some of them had more detailed things for actual previs planning, where it's like running cable, and you can figure out like, okay, how much cable do you actually, like distance do you actually need? Or if you wanted to bring in physical objects, just getting correct measurements. And if you were actually trying to lay out equipment in your physical space that you're going to film in, having all of that detail information with accurate measurements, so you could do it virtually on the computer before you actually go there, and you can make sure everything's already blocked and laid out, and the measurements are precise.
Yeah, 100%. My friend Renee, who's at District Cinema, gave me a preview actually a few days ago. It does solve the problem of laying down and sort of having real world units and measurements in Gaussian splats. So like once you have a accurate scan of your set, then, where does the light stand go? Where does the camera go? Yeah. Where do you block, and where do you put the actors, and so on? So like it does add a layer of usability on top of what is like a non-editable thing.
Yeah, and taking advantage of having all of those precise measurements and putting it to use. Lightcraft Spark was probably one of the cooler things I saw. Let's see, other thing that was cool, selects by Cutback. So when it comes to AI-assisted editing, Edit AI is probably the one that comes up the most and that we've talked about a bunch. Selects was another version of AI-assisted editing. Initially, when he was giving me the demo, it seemed a bit more targeted at podcast editing, YouTube, talking head editing, and like some vlogging type stuff. Mm-hmm. But they had a better integration with Claude and MCP servers. So you could use their system to kind of sort and edit the footage. It had it sort of like an auto B-roll assisted editing feature to like lay down B-roll based on what people are talking about. He gave me an example of like a company or production company that each Selects project has a limit of the amount of footage it could have, but he was like, they just did a bunch of projects and then the MCP server would just use the reference from each project and automatically kind of using it as like a smart footage search and then building cuts based on with Claude to analyze a bunch of Selects projects and be able to communicate, analyze all the footage, and then put together new edits. It was probably a more convoluted way to explain that. But it was, they had a lot of foundation levels there where like on the surface, it was designed for like, hey, you can edit your podcast quicker, but they are thinking more about this agentic AI workflow. And that was something I was trying to keep an eye out for, of like what companies are thinking of building their tools for ways to communicate with a Claude Code or an OpenClaw or these other agentic AI things. And Selects was definitely in that bucket of future thinking of, I could edit and analyze your footage, but it could also make it accessible to AI agents.
Yeah, I think once the highway has been established between an NLE to agentic LLM, it's only a matter of time before the LLM gets better and better and smarter and is able to make better and better editing decisions within your NLE. So this highway is the first step, which seems like they have built, and now it's just a matter of like evolving and iterating on it to make it really, really usable.
And it's a lot of these are starting with some of the sort of easier things to do, like a podcast with multicam, where it's a predictable format. You know, you're basically just going to cut out the ums and the ahs and kind of clean it up. It's not the best at, more abstract editing. That's what AI does a bit better at that, and is a bit more targeted at, here's a bunch of interviews.
Yeah, like creative editing with like voiceovers and
creating
beautiful B-roll.
With the hero journey. AI is still more tuned to do that stuff, but there's still a long way to go.
That's where you still need a human in the loop. I don't think that part of editing, like editing as an art form, is essentially that. And what this is doing is really just cutting back on tedious, repetitive tasks.
Exactly. Yeah. And just cleaning up those first takes so that you can have a decent first cut to start with, and then just start cutting and doing the craft of editing versus syncing angles and cleaning up mistakes and stuff like that. All right, what else we got? Strata, we already kind of talked about. I'll in the future, I'll talk about my experience with it, because we use that for the NAB videos.
Oh, yeah.
And it mostly worked. It's definitely the foundation's there. It's very
Dude, you were cranking those videos from the show floor. I was like, is Joey on the show floor, or he's in a hotel room editing? What's going on?
It was the magic of the cloud.
Or is he gambling downstairs?
Have all that debt pay off. What else we got? Oh, this one. Shade, which I'd seen them before, but it's a cool kind of all-in-one managed system where you can upload your footage. They have cloud storage, archivable storage, but they basically integrated AI with the entire system. So everything you upload gets analyzed for visual search. You can mount it onto your computer so it reads like a local drive. So it's sort of like this all-in-one, slightly cheaper than Suite Studio or Lucid Link. It's kind of like a media asset manager plus editing sidekick platform. And that was very interesting what they're building. It does have the issue where like everything you store, you are paying for cloud storage.
Right.
Which, that's the issue with like that.
Yeah, like this year and last year, really, it seems like the competition has really heated up for cloud-based media workflows.
And that you can
more so than ever before.
Yeah. Because we got Shade, we've got obviously Lucid Link, Suite Studios.
Yep.
And then
Frame Drive. Yeah.
Drive. But
Strata.
One thing I did find out about Frame, which was not very clear in the marketing, was they're going to have two different storage tiers. When they initially announced this, the impression was, anything you have stored on your Frame.io drive would be able to mount on your computer, and you could read it like a local file.
Right.
It's going to be two different storage tiers. There's going to be a pricier, they don't know what the price is, but there's going to be a pricier Frame.io drive storage where you pay more per terabyte if you want your stuff to be able to mount onto your computer. And then the whatever standard pricing is now of Frame.io that you already use, that is just cloud storage. Okay. You can't mount that on your computer. Okay. So it will be more money to use the drive mountable stuff. They said they would include some storage in every plan. They just don't know what, and they don't know what the per terabyte pricing of the mount storage will be. But
dude, you're not listening to my tinfoil hat theory, my conspiracy theory. Last time you totally ignored me. That's okay. I keep telling you that cloud-based services are going to get more expensive because of AI, because we're just using up more cloud GPUs and storage for AI. So there's only so many GPUs to go around.
I believe in the first part of your theory where like cloud storage will keep going up. I think it'll just keep going up because they want more money and you're stuck
No. I
what are you
think
gonna do? You can't like move off the cloud. What a nightmare! You're like stuff's already there, and you're just like, right. I guess we'll pay more money because
all right,
the
this is the
alternative to
second
that
time
is
you have ignored
like,
my warnings. I'm telling you, cloud stuff is going to get more expensive.
I don't disagree with that. I just don't think it's AI related. I think
It's not because
I think
of
it's
AI.
because they just they can't because they can't. Like,
Because they can't. Well, yeah, I think a lot of businesses are doing that. But I think fundamentally, like AWS or Azure sets a price, and then their price is on top of that price, right? So that price is going up.
But I mean, how much for cloud storage? I mean, how much GPU stuff's really involved in that? That's not a GPU thing.
It's not a GPU intensive task, but it's still using the same network switches and the same sort of pods and containers that an AI inference infrastructure would use, right? So even if it's not like low on GPU usage, it's still using the same highway.
Side thing, but I started listening to a podcast that's a 4-hour history of data centers.
Why did you do that to yourself?
I had a lot of desert driving over the last 2 weeks. It's very interesting. It is very interesting.
Yeah.
All right. I don't disagree with the pricing going up. I just think it's because they can and not because of AI.
So, quick sidetrack. I was in a LA neighborhood yesterday, and they were trying to build a data center there, I guess, because every single front lawn had a no data center sign on it. Like they're signing some petition. Like this is like an ongoing thing with, can we feed this AI machine enough data centers and GPUs to keep it going? And it's like literally up to our front lawn now.
With the signs and stuff.
Yeah, like there's actual city council and petitions voting on this data center that would be, it's near a downtown neighborhood over here.
Okay. All right. Yeah, they're coming.
They're coming.
Until we build them on floating ships or spaceships. What did I see a picture of? Oh, a data centers in a Spirit Airlines airplane. They're like, let's turn the Spirit Airlines planes into data centers.
I think the wildest one I've seen is data centers in the Middle East, like in Dubai or someplace where it's incredibly hot, and then you're trying to cool a data center on top of that. Probably not a good idea.
Okay, last one that was pretty cool, Martini, an AI platform that, look, like all of them, I mean, they all do the kind of the similar things, but their kind of cool, unique features are very big and responsive, like canvas-based editor, not node-based editor, canvas editor to like lay out all your stuff, multi-user, multiple people can be in it, but they also have a built-in timeline editor in the same canvas. So as you're making the shots, you could do your edit, pull in shots, cut it, and then export and send that to whatever NLE you want to. They work with all the models, they bring everything in. But the cool thing that they custom built is this angle editor. So you can basically give it a frame of your film or AI generated frame, and then it will analyze the people and sort of Gaussian splat it, and then turn it into a 3D space where you can move a 3D camera and reposition and get a new angle. And then have some of the best camera control that I've seen, where it's like you want to get over the shoulder, you want to get specific angles. So this was super cool. And it's just kind of a cool platform. They demoed it for me a few weeks ago, and I was happy to. I actually didn't even realize they were going to be there. It was one of those things where I was walking by, and then they were like in a AI startup spot all the way in the back of West Hall. And then I was like, hey, man, let's talk about this thing, because what you're doing is cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, this has been one of the most popular NAB videos that we've done, so people are responsive to it. But yeah, I think it's cool.
This is nuts.
Platform.
I think it totally makes sense to have 3D control over 2D generations. And if you go a step further, imagine tying a VCam like a Light Spark,
Lightcraft Spark,
like a Lightcraft Spark to this system, and so in real time you have some level of interactivity. Yeah, and now you're really getting somewhere with cinematography.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if one of the sides can figure out a way to connect the camera, either Lightcraft has the 3D, turn it into a 3D scene, or Martini figures out how to add your camera to it, that would be a good combo. Yeah, this is a cool app. This is a very cool platform.
Very cool. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right, as highlights of NAB things that I saw that we did not initially talk about.
Yeah, and if you've seen something at NAB that we didn't cover, throw us a comment and we'll talk about it.
The one thing I didn't see that I saw some videos pop up was someone had built a iPhone bullet time rig that would do a Gaussian splat, and you could do a bullet time with the iPhone. I didn't see that booth. I don't know where it was, but I saw some videos pop up, so I missed that one. But the demos look cool. You could kick a wall and do make it look like you're Neo with the iPhones.
Yeah, I would have to see it. I don't know.
It was a bullet time rig with iPhones.
Yeah. So you need like 32 iPhones?
Yeah, you need a lot of iPhones. Yeah.
Nobody's going to do that.
They did it on 28 years later.
Well, like now you have start frame and end frame with Kling. You can just do a bullet time, just have a start frame, end frame. Like who's going to buy 32 iPhones?
That would be an interesting shoot out in the future. What gets you better quality if you have...
Well, obviously the iPhone is going to get you better quality, but if it's just a 1 second cut in your 5-minute video, are you going to get 32 iPhones or are you just going to use Kling?
Depends what you're filming.
I mean,
what if, you're trying to do something with liquids or stuff that's like kind of detailed and messy?
Sure. If you want like highly accurate physical simulation of the world, yeah.
But actually I was going to say, sports could use it, but I haven't seen more sports demos where they only have a few cameras and they do those 3D camera moves based on a few angles.
They interpolate. Yeah.
Yeah, and generate what's in between. So, yeah, even sports wouldn't do that. I don't know. It looks cool, man. It looks cool at the show. Yeah. If I even knew where the booth was, I did not see it. As much as we ran around, I did not see this booth.
Yeah, it would be a cool booth, that for sure. Yeah,
it was a good booth
just to see it.
All right, let's talk about Claude. Claude, while we were off the air, Claude continued to take over and sidekick with seems just about like every creative tool at this point. The first one was they kind of announced a whole sprint of like partnerships with integration into various creative tools, notably Adobe Creative Suite. So Claude can integrate with Photoshop, Premiere, just about every tool in Adobe Creative Suite.
That's because Adobe Creative Suite has a very robust API. So for third-party plugins and such. So it was probably an easier task because the connections already exist.
Yeah, but it's interesting. I mean, do you know if it can see what you're doing in the project besides? Because I've tried this with Resolve, and it can do things in Resolve, but it can't really see what it's doing. Like in order to see, it has to export from Resolve and then analyze it, or I have to
like it's not doing live screenshots.
So it's like can you like add these videos to this track, or can you add these nodes to this video? And it's like I can try, and then it's like I don't know if I did it because I can't like see what I did.
Yeah, so it's more of like a one-way street where Claude is just instructing the DCC, but it's not really feeding back.
Yeah. And so I am curious. I'll mess around with this with like Premiere. I'm curious if this is aware of what it's doing, of what it's able to do.
I'm guessing no. Like the live screenshot thing is very, bandwidth intensive and resource intensive. So as a first step, it's just to get Cloud talking to the Creative Cloud. And then I think second or third step would be to have like a real-time iterative workflow where you're just like kind of talking Claude through your instructions, and then it's doing it on the whim.
I'm messing around with Premiere, but I think this stuff's useful because it's helpful to just like for that base. If you have batch things that you have to do, or you're just trying to get projects set up, it speeds up tedious stuff. People that freak out like, oh, it's doing all the work for you. Like it definitely is not doing that for you. It just speeds up tedious work.
You know what is doing the work for you? GPT Image too.
If you want to talk about graphic design and stuff.
But we'll get to it.
We'll get to that in a second. The other one, there were a bunch of like announcements from Claude integrating with a bunch of tools. Oh yeah, they'd integrated with the music, one of the music mixing tools. There were a bunch. The other one was Blender. So it announced a partnership with Blender, and also that Anthropic was going to be a Blender enterprise level sponsor, which means I've given like a couple $100,000 each year to support Blender.
Is Blender still like open source? And
Blender is free and open source. It exists based on donations and corporate sponsors.
So they could use the money.
Yes, right. Yes. So they announced Blender Connector on top of being a patron of Blender and announcing this enterprise sponsorship. They have this integrator that, is basically like you can talk to Claude and start having it build out like elements and worlds and gray boxing and other things in Blender, which seems, for us that are in the AI space, very powerful. Not going to like replace a knowledgeable Blender person, but if you are a beginner with Blender or are trying to do some basic stuff and want to get something built out in Blender, which is a really good 3D tool, seem pretty useful and powerful.
Right. That makes sense to me. Like I would welcome a Claude Blender integration just for tedious things, like you said, just importing 10 different assets into Blender and then having a right hierarchy in the outliner, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I've always wanted is like, because, I've been messing around more with having gray box 3D space as like a rough 3D area that we have more control over and can reposition cameras, and then using that as a foundation to give to Kling or Cdance as a motion base layer. And if I could give it instructions of like, hey, I need to build like a city street and just have like rough shapes built up to look like a street, that seems like a very good use of Claude to build out the scene. So anyways, the anti-AI mob grabbed their pitchforks and yelled at Blender. And Blender sort of backtracked. They basically said that they would take the Anthropic donation as a one-off donation and then not continue the annual support. Seems ridiculous.
Okay.
Their yearly donation of 240,000 euros, which was roughly the cost of 4 full-time devs.
Maybe I'm not understanding it, or maybe you're not either. If any of our viewers know sort of the nuances of why there was so much backlash, please throw us a comment.
I mean, you're not online as much. Why? Because people hear AI and then they instantly like get angry.
Is it that simple though? Like it's 2026.
It's literally that. Oh, like AI is going to replace all the Blender artists. It's like, no, they're going to like super, empower Blender artists to do bigger and better things.
Yeah, Blender's just going to get better at doing a higher level tasks, like going from like individual modeling of one character to actually building a world with 50 different characters, or building a game.
Also, like, how does this tool stay relevant in this AI future where so much, it's like, oh, so many things that you would need a Blender for, you don't even need Blender or any 3D tool for that matter. So how does Blender, which is already open source, stay relevant? And
I think Blender has a huge place in the future of generative AI.
You need that control. You still need that, at a certain level, you need that fidelity and control.
Exactly.
And being able to work in a 3D space. And why not?
And this is a free tool. This is going to be the most sort of proliferated versus like Maya or Unreal, or Unreal's free too. But, it's like the Blender donut, right? Like everybody can do that.
Yeah, and then in the process of like, get everything their pitchforks, full-time developers are not going to get hired to like continue to work on Blender because the long-term money was pulled. I'm curious how this plays. I mean, they said they'll take the money now and then they won't do it in the future, like each year, but also like a year is a long time away, especially in AI time. So like, I would be surprised if maybe they just reverse this in a few months and then everyone forgot and moved on.
Yeah. I mean, this is a big setback for Blender not taking that money, in my opinion. But
also they shouldn't have given into this anti-AI mob. Like, it's just. I could also like guess that the people upset about this have never touched Blender in their life, and
110%. Like, do you know how hard it is to do anything in Blender?
I just hear AI and they're like, and it's like, okay, please go use Blender and see if you can what you can do with it.
Right, and like just like you said, like just because Blender is fully built out doesn't mean it doesn't need maintenance and debugging and just sort of regular software development things. You need money to kind of keep that going and keep Blender, on the latest NVIDIA GPU or the latest Windows or whatever. Like, it's a constant cycle of evolution.
Yeah, and Blender is used at the top level. That Blender Flow, the Academy Award-winning animated film from 2 years ago, was like entirely done on Blender. It is an extremely up-to-date, powerful software that is free to use, and it's only free because of donations and corporate sponsors that help fund it.
Exactly.
All right, last couple general updates that came out while we were off the air. Biggest one, OpenAI GPT Image 2 officially released.
Yeah, we totally missed the entire boat on covering this. So sorry about that, viewers. But I'm sure you've seen other
we gave the early sneak peek. We said we gave the the early access hint of oh hey look, this new model surfacing, the grip tape.
Yeah.
We were ahead of the wave.
We're ahead of the wave, but we didn't generate and do side by side comparisons. Maybe we'll do that down the road.
We'll do that next time.
Okay.
Have you messed with it a bit?
Yes.
What have you found?
So it's not really built for film and television use. Having said that, it is incredibly powerful for graphics design. It's almost like you have your own graphics designer at your disposal, and you just tell this agent, like, make me a kid's birthday invite, or make me a restaurant menu, or make me a poster for my work.
Kids a doctor's note.
Come on, dude, just stop talking about the doctor's notes. The schools are going to catch on. That's my little secret, and I'm sharing it with the viewers, all 100 of them. I don't know.
Okay, so very good at tech. I have to give it a tech spin. I was trying.
No. Go further than that. Like, okay, imagine
graphic design. Very good at graphic design.
Like we're throwing a theater live show for Denoised, and make that invite. Give it a thumbnail and see what it does. I'm telling you, it's going to come out and get something pretty cool.
All right, we'll try that. Okay. I will say it wasn't GPT Image 2 wasn't out yet, but all of our NAB thumbnails, which sort of have this stylized text, this text was generated with, I want to say it was Not a Banana Pro, and then it was inserted into the screen grabs with another Not a Banana Pro process. So this whole thing was the first time where like it wasn't done with Photoshop, it was done with an AI workflow.
You didn't make your head bigger. You know, like the thumbnails, like Mr. Beast goes 20% bigger on the head.
Super stylized with these, but these were like our style from before. But
right, it's flat. Yeah.
I mean, crazy, but crazy that it is at the point now where it can make edits to images and not mess up the base images, and the text is sharp.
Text is fully sharp, fully readable.
The text is sharp. The images were like edited, but not.
I mean, were you doing this in the past, like in Photoshop, where you just like...
It would be in Photoshop. It would be a Photoshop thing.
Maybe it'll take you about 5 minutes a thumbnail or something like that.
It was like kind of templated. So it was, a really talented graphic designer. She would make the kind of pre-build the templates to like save time, and then just like update the text and insert with the images and adjust the angle so it kind of fits on whatever 3D space makes sense. Yeah, I'm honestly, she was out of town during NAB, so then it was like, okay, Steven, not a graphic designer, but good at AI, like was able to do this, and not, he doesn't know Photoshop, but he knows how to work Not a Banana Pro, and then was able to achieve the same result. And because the models have gotten good enough to not mess up faces and stuff like they used to.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think GPT-2 would mess up faces either, and it'll actually give you like a level of, God, I hate to say this, but a level of creativity to that text. It it'll play with it a little bit more.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Well, GPT-2 came out mid NAB, which also I was like telling people at NAB, I'm like, oh, hey, did you see GPT-2 is finally released? And they were like, what? So not a lot of people at NAB were as excited about that.
Your text was like, yeah, nobody at NAB cares, Addy. Stop texting me. I'm in Vegas. I'm like, Joey, I thought we were friends, man.
No one cares about the new AI models at NAB.
They do.
Co at Martini, he cared. He knew about it. He cared.
Okay. Yeah.
He was the only one that cared.
There's some AI nerds out there. I know it.
Yeah. All right. Quick one. Kling AI now supports 4K videos.
Oh my God. That's insane.
Pretty big, because I don't think anyone else really natively supports 4K. It's all like an up-res workflow.
Yeah, and from what I can understand, like this is a huge leap in GPU usage and sort of architecting the entire thing.
This is why the storage prices are going up.
Yeah, thanks. Exactly. Because we're going from 2K to 4K now, like we did 20 years ago.
Yeah, I have not messed with it yet, but from this demo, just even if you're going down to HD, having the 4K and then downrising it.
Right, downrising is so much useful.
Sharpness. Yeah. I would be curious, because all these demos are, of course, really good shots and they're close-ups and detailed. I'd be curious how this 4K works with wide crowd
Wide,
shots.
right.
And the wide shots were like, those are still the trickiest with AI. There's not enough pixels. The details fall apart. I'm going to have to test it with that because the demos here, obviously, they always pick the best looking shots for the demos, but they're all nice close-ups with sweat on the skin. And
I mean, it's getting harder and harder to tell what AI slop is, and I think the bump to 4K will make it so much more difficult. Then we're going to be looking at nuances in lighting and, you know, tone mapping and things like that, instead of just like sheer like skin detail missing, things like obvious things like that.
Yeah, 100%. And then the last one, just because this started circulating around online, the Academy, from the Academy Awards, has banned AI from ever winning an Oscar. It basically means like the AI can't be nominated. Like you need a human to be nominated, which, you know, doesn't really
feels really like obvious. Like, we're not going to have Claude buy a Unitree robot and then come up to the podium to get an Oscar. Like, that's never going to happen. It's always going to be a human that's going to be using AI to do the thing that they do. And is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's fine.
Only roles demonstrably performed by humans with their consent can be nominated for Oscars.
So this feels more like a Flex news drop. Like,
screenplay. Yeah,
guys, you know like what? We don't. AI can't come up
just
here.
clarifying something that seemed like a no-brainer. But I also wanted to mention this because I feel like I heard some people be like, "Oh, I heard like you can't use AI at all for like the Academy Awards." Like,
that's not
interpreting
true.
It that you couldn't use AI at all, like in your screenplay or, you know, whatever. A, how would you even prove that? And B, no, it's just like there has to be a human author to be nominated for the thing, which is a no-brainer.
I think the Academy, and, you know, not just the Academy itself, but also like the Emmys, the Television Academy, and a lot of these government bodies for film and television, I think they will genuinely care about the ethical, sort of certified organic vibe of the actual output, right? Like, what model is it made on? Is it trained ethically? Is it stealing data? And then they should, right? That makes sense. But having said that, the fundamental rule is like AI is a tool for the creatives, as you know, and the creative's going to combine AI with traditional tools to make the thing that they make, and then it's fine. And that totally tracks with me, I think.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. I mean, it's like, okay, where does that fit in the evolution of computers being used in visual effects and everything else? It's like another part of that process.
Yeah, it's like saying computers
tool evolution
can't win AI. Well, computers are not going to. Computers can't win Oscars.
I think we brought this up before, but I've been waiting to dig in if it was true. But it was like something like the original Tron was disqualified from being nominated for VFX because they use computers in the VFX, you know, which seems crazy today.
Yeah.
I also don't know if that's just an internet fact or if that was actually true, but the idea resonates. So we'll go with it's in spirit. We'll go with it's true in spirit. I don't think anyone was pushing for an AI bot to be able to qualify for.
It'll be garbage. Nobody will watch it.
An Academy Award.
If you give AI to like I don't know, Darren Aronofsky, somebody like that, and they make a masterpiece with it, nobody will really care. It's AI. Like, it's just a damn good movie. I think the more
important question is, will AI qualify for the Razzies? That's the more important question.
That is a very important question. And I hope it does.
Me too.
Or it might just flood and inundate the Razzies, and they'll be like, no more AI stuff. We want human slop.
We want Halle Berry to come here.
Yes,
claim
exactly.
Her Razzie again.
And grab it. I think which she did, right?
She did. She was like one of the only people that showed up and gotten hers.
That's awesome. That shows character.
I think it was the same year she won the Academy Award. It was what did
Monsters Ball?
Catwoman? It was Monsters Ball.
Monsters Ball was Catwoman. Yeah, at the same year. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. That's wild. What a swing. Did you see YouTube has some AI demonetization stuff happening?
I have that saved somewhere. I didn't put it on this thing. It was like a face detector kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it seemed similar to the music, the content license.
Yeah, like when it detects licensed music and shuts you down if you're not licensing it.
Either shuts you down or switches the monetization over to the author.
Right.
Something like that, but with actor faces.
I heard there's a way to get around the music detection thing by just like expanding the tempo by like 2%. So it still sounds the same to us acoustically, but the algorithm can't detect it.
Or when I see clips pop up on TikTok from movies, but then it has like another weird sound background voice underneath it, and I think it's just to trick or dodge the content moderator from finding that it was from a copyright clip.
Yeah, I think YouTube realizes that if they don't like cap this or just kind of start to police it a little bit, like it'll get really out of hand and half of all content will be AI slop.
Well, but that's confusing though, because on the flip side, they are sort of encouraging that because they have VO, they have like AI generated tools built into more of their tool set. So it's sort of like, what do you want? Like,
I think they don't want fully automated, just like regurgitation. I think they would,
but they want some stuff.
They see VO as an assistive tool, perhaps not a replacement tool. Like most people.
I mean, I can understand they would not want some, AI farm just generating random slop and pushing it out to like hope that they make some pennies that are more than what, off of AdSense, that's more than the cost it was to make the stuff.
Yeah, right.
But provides no value. But they have these AI tools and these other things built in, so it's not like they don't want any AI on the platform.
They need it. The bigger company, Alphabet, needs AI usage, right? And what better place for that to proliferate than YouTube? But it can't take over YouTube. So there's like a fine balance.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it'll take over Shorts. I think Shorts is where it's kind of really taken off. Also, YouTube Kids is insane AI stuff.
Oh, dude, I actually love this AI YouTube channel called Theoretico. And it's, I'll send it to you. And I think some of the viewers know this. It's basically putting a mannequin into different historical places. And then what would life be like for you in 1 week of that time? So like, what's life like in the Roman Empire for 1 week?
Sounds cool.
And then you get time traveled back into your current state, and then you kind of reflect on it. Well, it was awful, but again, it was very fun and da-da-da-da. And it's
kind of like a vlog, but from like a historic period.
Yeah, and the reason they're able to do it so well is because how would you shoot that, right? How would you take a mannequin into Roman times, and like there would be a lot of VFX and animation and so on. But
and even the early AI stuff that did well was that POV, like you wake up on the Titanic or something, and it was just like their POV thing walking through on the ship of the Titanic or through a Roman village.
I mean, Star Wars Untold is still killing it. Star Wars Stories. Yeah, those guys. There's the 2 Star Wars channels. The comment says something like, "Disney execs better be watching this."
What was the name of the channel?
Theoretico is the one that I was talking about. That's it. The skeleton guy. Yeah.
They're
178 subscribers. They're still really small. So like, it looks like it's made.
You wake up as a middle class citizen.
Yeah. If you're into history, this is the jam. Yeah, and it's really like nuanced. It's not all cliche stuff. It's like somebody that did their history research, so you kind of learn from it.
Back in our day, all you had was Wishbone cosplaying as a
Wishbone.
Roman character.
Yes,
remember Wishbone the dog?
Yeah, of course.
That's all we had.
Yeah, we're living in awesome times.
All right. Good place to wrap it up. Good catch up. Links for everything to talk about at denoisepodcast.com.
We've been gone for a minute, but I hope you found this episode useful and throw us a couple of likes, maybe some high points. High points.
Addie's still on the high point train. We'll get you one, Addie. Don't worry.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you in the next episode.